Bonaireano ng tour sin miedo. Bantu maloke ko datimos back. Bless!
Guapo mi pueblo tacaí, dentramos ta queda caí.
Después de 10 Bonaireano nang a perder turnan derecho para gobernar a mes. Gradualmente está reemplazado tu jefe en local de departamento, tanto gubernamental como no gubernamental, para otro nang. Pone Bonaire back lista de territorio nang sin propio gobernación de Nación Uni, ta duna nos e posibilidad de hanya e derecho e back. Pone Bonaire back lista lo forza gobierno holandés para reportar tur año na Nación Uni tocante el desarrollo de agente local bonaireano conforme ley internacional artículo 73 de Nación Unida y derecho humano. El programa aquí, Nos Bèrdat, lo explica el proceso de poner Bonaire back lista de territorio sin propia gobernación de Nación Unida para sobre el pueblo de Bonaire merece lo mejor.
Guapo mi pueblo tacaí, dentramos ta queda caí. Sakita el lifestyle, sale grabando de guasmai.
Nota nos, bastante niya kaya trubal. Na queda oprimilay, inang nota super. Nos tinko biba boy ni fel pa boss tambi ba super. Deseno sta binduro ni parano.
Welcome to Raw Talk. My name is Davika Bisasa, the President of Bonaire Human Rights. With me is James Finis from NKBB Bonaire and Kurt Korkhoff, former Island Secretary and Commissioner of Statia. Welcome, people. Welcome. Kurt, how does it feel to be in Bonaire?
It's good to be here again.
Yes.
Last time I was here, I think it was 3 years ago, when we had a short visit here. And when I was Island Secretary in Statia. And now I'm here again for other reasons, but just for one day.
Yeah.
Actually, it became only one day thanks to the traveling problems with airplanes not working. But I'm here. I'm happy to see the two of you again.
Yes.
Because we have some history together.
Yes. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
And Mr. Finis, how is it feeling to be next to your traveling pal that you have traveled South America with for the 2 years ago? And
yes.
colleague.
Thank you for the opportunity again. And yes, good. Nice to see you in Bonaire, and welcome in Bonaire. And yes, it feels good to have be back together to talk about things what we commonly aspiring. So with us, it's always about the issue of the islands, where we meet and where we have do some things on this field. So I think it will be nice to speak to you guys today.
Kurt, it's an honor to have you. It's quite a privilege for our listeners of Raw Talk. Raw Talk is a once-a-month radio program in English. So we'll get our fellow residents of Bonaire that doesn't speak Papiamento and in English and Dutch. It makes them understand a little bit more of James Finis and his trajectory to the United Nations to be put Bonaire on the non-self-governing territory list. So today we have the honor for Mr. Korkhoff to explain to us a little bit back in the history. It's not much more of a debate today, but we like to for him to explain a little bit more on the history and James' opinion on it too. So if we could go back in history in time, usually my first question is to explain, or to explain the idea of the debate, the Raw Talk, and the concept of it. And it's really a chance for the newly residents that came to live on Bonaire to understand a little of history of the island. So my first question is to Kurt, and usually we ask the question of Bonaire, but today we'll switch it up a little bit more on Statia, since you was the former Island Secretary and Commissioner of Central Statia. It's quite interesting history that you have with Central Statia. You're married to Statia.
So in a trajectory of dismantling of the Netherlands entities, I think most people, most of the listeners and viewers will remember that the Antilles were a separate kingdom within the Dutch kingdom, and there was a lot of discontent about the way things were being run. So years of discussion, almost 20 years, about how are we going to reform things. It ended up with referenda in the different islands. In Statia, the people thought they didn't really want to become a separate entity. They wanted actually to reform the Netherlands Antilles because they were very much aware of the unique nature of the Caribbean. And of course, with the other islands, St. Martin and Curaçao wanting to go separate ways, become a separate country within the kingdom, the choice for the smaller islands were limited. And the choice of Statia was actually swiped off the table. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to try to reform the Netherlands Antilles. So the other options left up for you is to become what came to be known as the openbaar lichaam, which is a Dutch term, and it's a public entity. Now, that's rather different from what the people in Statia desired, because within the Netherlands Antilles, all the islands had a kind of autonomy within the Netherlands Antilles, and it was stripped because they became a public entity with direct ties with Holland, with laws for them made in Holland. They didn't determine their own laws, even though the influence of the smaller islands within the Netherlands Antilles wasn't that big. They still had influence. They were always needed to make a decision go. The moment they became public entity, there was no more influence in influencing the parliament in Holland, because the parliament in Holland from that moment on decided on what was going to happen. That led from 1010, and also the Dutch politicians who came to the islands to say, well, this is how we want the thing and we're going to make it better for all of you. The fact that you as a small island were on the back burner in the Netherlands Antilles, now we're going to make sure that your infrastructure is going to be up to par, your social network, taking care of the people, social affairs is going to be better, and you become part of the Netherlands, European Netherlands. So that's all going to be different, because you know in Holland is a welfare state, and with people who get support from the state. When you lose your job, you have insurance. When you get sick, you have insurance. And now we're 11 years down the line, and a lot of things are not the same. Now, in between, from October 10, 2010 to now, in Statia, there were elections. First in 2010, and then a party who was actually more for emancipation of the stations really become more of, okay, we're going to be a little parliament, and we're going to decide on our own future. We want to do that within the framework of the constitution as it was made, like as public entity. But it ended up that this government was, it fell apart, and a new government came in that just walked at the hands with the Dutch and didn't protest too much and didn't say, okay, we can't decide on this anymore, we can't decide on that anymore, it's okay. Now, that all went on until the next elections, and then a new government led by Clyde van Putten came in, and they had a very more agenda of autonomy. And that, of course, the opponents said, yeah, you want independent, and we are too small, because Statia, as most people will know, is just 21 square kilometers with just about 3,500 inhabitants, and some goats and some donkeys and the rest. Now, with that, the people like Clyde were very much aware of the limitations, but they wanted to fight, like I think everybody should do, to be master in his own house. And after 10-10-10, the small islands were no longer master in their own house, which they were during the Netherlands Antilles. Maybe the house wasn't very well maintained, maybe the house wasn't very luxurious,
Yeah.
but it was their own house and they were responsible for it.
Yes. Yes.
And that ended in 10-10-10.
Yes. Thank
So,
you. Yeah.
yeah?
Yes, thank you, God. Interesting. James, if I may say, I know you write in the book about this, and part of it is to commemorate or to document the last 10 years of 10-10-10 to 2020, of like what Mr. Kirchhoff is talking about on the part of Bonaire. I know that in part of the book, because I had the privilege to work alongside, actually document that you were a banker, you're working in a commercial, you're working in a bank, and because you stood up in that frame 2004, you were told that you should shut up or you should stop talking, and you refused to stop talking, so that got some consequences for you. So I know Holland Bonaire did not choose like Stacia chose for to stay in the Antilles. What's your opinion on that part of the history of Bonaire?
The history of Bonaire is similar to Central Stacia. Stacia at the time make a conscious, direct choice, and that is self-determination, and that is the right to self-determination. That is how United Nations and the world agree on. So at the time, because self-determination, it has nothing to do with size of the country, how many people live in the country, what is the economical state, the financial state. Has nothing to do with that. That's what I said I lie to our people. I said I lie today, and now I don't use the word lie, but I said I lie to our people that if you are small, if you have less people, you cannot decide yourself on your own internal affairs, because self-determination is at the end leads to self-government. Self-government is what we all as human beings do every day. When you wake up in the morning to go work, you are in your house. When you decide that morning what you want to eat for breakfast or not, and how late you come back to your house, what you do in your house, that is self-determination for an island. So that it belongs to everyone. Doesn't matter if you live in a castle or you live in a house in a neighborhood. We all have that right. So what? Sorry, I'm going too deep in it maybe, but I wanted to explain that there's a very basic concept that they lie to us. Because you're small, you cannot decide yourself in your house. It's not true. The self-determination was created that we are equal as human beings and as peoples, and that equality has no limitations with nothing, because there are systems that will help each other to support you, whatever you mean, but you have the right to decide yourself. So anyway, coming back to the questions about Bonaire compared to Stacia. Yeah, Bonaire is a similar situation as Stacia. Stacia had a clear, this is what they want, but Bonaire had also to decide themselves what they want. Because at the end of the day, the people has to decide that, not the political leaders, not from Bonaire, not political leaders from Holland, because the self-determination right does not belong to governments, it belongs to peoples. And that's where we mistaken ourselves, that, not mistaken, a group of people mistaken themselves, and Holland take advantage of that, say yes, you leaders choose this for you. No, you leaders cannot choose for us in self-determination. So the people decides what it is. So that is where it went wrong. And in our case, our people did not choose for openbaar lichaam.
Yeah.
They rejected the status of openbaar lichaam in 2 referendums. So at this point in time, we are in a status, in a constitution, in a system that was not determined by the people, and that is illegal. Internationally, they call it a crime against humanity.
Okay.
So that is a very short, that Bonaire is the same in the same boat as Stacia.
Just let me say, so Stacia chose to stay within the Netherlands Antilles, and Bonaire chose direct link. But what either of you, your islands did, you did not, the people did not get. So both got integration, which is both islands never choose that.
Yeah.
That's right?
And yeah, correct. And then there was a new referendum again, in which the public entity status, I think it was in 2014, but the public entity status was clearly rejected by the people who participated in the referendum. So, and it's indeed very correct that the people decide. Now, and it's also something which that needs to be said, because the Dutch say, yeah, what you said, your leaders have opted for this, they signed on to the agreement to do this, but as the representative of the one who signed the United Nations manifest, the Dutch government is responsible to tell the people that the people decide. They can't say, like you said, but your leaders decide. That's a fallacy. The leaders are not the ones who are to decide. It is really the United Nations manifest says the people, like you quoted correctly, the people decide things. Now, and that's the ultimate goal of democracy, that the people decided. Those rules were bypassed by the Dutch, and by the Dutch government pointing at the leaders like, yeah, they signed up for it, so they are responsible for it, and we're just carrying out what was decided. But that's not really the way it went. Now, it's important to know that that's the history of it. It's not that clear and like, oh, they made a mistake and now they just have to suffer the consequence. No, it was manipulation to a large part. And what both the government in Statia tried to do is to correct the mistake and say, well, we want to determine our own future. And if in that process, in which the proper process, wherein the people are being heard, the people decide, okay, actually we want this construct, but we want it this way, then there's no problem. That's the will of the people that should be exercised. So if we live in a democracy, we have to abide by it. But if the people say, no, this is what we want, and we want actually, yes, we can be a public entity, but within this framework, then that has to be done. And right now, that's not happening. There is no self-determination, which is actually a violation of the manifest of the United Nations, to which the Dutch are signatory, and they're supposed to uphold the manifest of the United Nations, and they're not. So that's the reason why both James and also the people in Statia want to be back on the list, because that will guarantee them that the United Nations will supervise the process again.
And the list, we said the list, but basically it's a non-self-governing territory list of the United Nations. So what James, can you say in 1-2 minutes about that, the relisting process, the meaning of being on the list, if Bonaire and Statia can be back on that list?
I can say that what I understood from the beginning is that that's where it went wrong, because the decolonization process, of self-determination process, needed some of proof in our Antillean history. It needed guidance of supervision by the United Nations, not what they telling the people. Some come to supervise a referendum. No, you need support from the United Nations to guide the whole process, and that went wrong because what we experienced that whatever an island vote in a referendum, never Holland or never the people's choice was not reflected in what happened after that. So from other islands, I'm gonna get them quickly, people understand what I'm talking. Aruba vote for independence, 90%. You never got independence.
In what year?
In 80 something. I don't have to wait, but Aruba referendum
in the 80s.
When they separate, become status of parties, they vote for independence. It wasn't status they vote for. So the Aruba people never got the independence, what they vote for.
Yes.
Then St. Martin vote to become a status apartheid like Aruba. That's what they vote for. They never become like Aruba. They lose all the autonomy and now they're losing more again.
Yes.
Then Curacao also vote for a status similar to Aruba. They never got that. So St. Eustatius vote to stay in the Netherlands. They never got that. Bonaire voted to have a direct link with Holland, not be integrated in Holland. Never had a direct link with Holland. Holland took us over and put us in there. So all the referendums on these islands had no meaning without, in my view, without the United Nations involvement at that level of decolonization. So that's why we think, or now we think we're aspiring, we're working towards to get back on the list. Because on the list is not the Dutch government of the Dutch people of Dutch, we know a lot of them. We know Knopf, we know now is very popular now. Before Knopf was Plaster, before them was Bijleveld. The people know Bijleveld from the time of the dissolution of Netherlands and Antilles, because Bijleveld threatened, like Knopf threatened now the islands with COVID, you don't get money if you sign. Bijleveld did the same with these islands. He said, if you have a referendum to stop this, he stopped the money to the island. So on the threat, the Dutch deal with this island. So nothing happened on this island, on self-determination, was illegal because it was happened on the threat of the leaders and against the wishes of the people. So this is a complete farce. What we're in now, in this status, of course, I have to live, I have to work, I have to live to care my children, but that's nothing to do with self-determination. Self-determination is completely wrong. So we think, we know, because that's the only piece of possibility exists in the world for small islands like us to have a fair process of self-determination and seek our rights, because there's no other way. Big countries have make wars to be equal to others, but we cannot make war. That's why the United Nations is there for us with a nice amicable way. United Nations, Holland, and us. Hey, Holland, this is what you sign. So the people has the right to this. Will you give them? When you give them. And when Holland start talking, they say, report to me next year how far you are to get them their rights. So this is a complete different process where we live for all those 60 years in Antilles. That's why on the list, we think is a solution to have a fair, amicable thing, because we all will talk together, understand each other, and have the best solution for the people of the island. Okay. So that is the list. Okay. And for another aspect.
Let's get back to Mr. Korkhoff. The idea was in the 8th of February of 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened in Statia?
What happened? First, it happened in Holland. The Dutch Parliament decided that the government in Statia was doing illegal things. There was no evidence for that. They compiled a report that was never really investigated. In the report, it was said that people were guilty of nepotism, embezzling, fraud, and therefore this government wasn't functioning any longer, and the Dutch government was to take over.
Wow.
These allegations were never proven. There was never a court case. Nobody was prosecuted, so nobody had a chance to defend himself in court. And the government was put aside completely, and 2 commissioners were appointed by the Netherlands to rule the island. The local council was dissolved, and from that moment on, it was people on instruction from the Netherlands to do everything in Statia. With their appointment, the Dutch government also made all of a sudden quite a lot of money available for infrastructure projects, for everything else, all the things that the local government had been asking and actually demanding based on the same Dutch laws that said your government has to do this, And like when the central government says you have to do this, the central government also has to provide the means, which they never did. And there are 3 or maybe even 4 reports from different organizations in the Netherlands that have pointed out that there was a discrepancy between what the islands had to do and the financial means given to the islands. And there were advices, you have to do this, you have to make changes, and all these advices were in line with what the actual government in Statia wanted to do. But the Dutch central government, the cabinet, decided to do nothing with the advices, and instead push away the local government, put down commissioners and a lot of money, and now we are 2018, we're 2021. It was said it would be for a period of 2 years. We are going on 3 years now. In a few months, in February 2022, it will be 4 years. And there were elections for the Island Council again.
What year was that? It's 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but they have no decision power. The decision power is still with
Really?
Dutch government appointed commissioners, and because they have to learn how to be a democracy.
Wow.
Now that's a bit strange, because we are not dealing with minors who play youth parliament and who are just learning, like you have the Youth United Nations, getting a feeling. Now these are people democratically elected,
yes.
and who represent the people of the island, and they have no say in decisions.
So even though they won the election back again, the
same people who were accused of corruption and nepotism,
with no proof,
and with so-called no support of the population, they were re-elected, giving a clear sign that the population, like the right to self-determination, that the people decided this is the way we want to do things. We want to go this way of self-determination. We want to organize our own home. Statia is home to the stations, and we want to do it our way. And it's not like, and that's being used very often, another fallacy. Yes, you want to be part of the kingdom and get our money, but not do things for it. Now, it doesn't work that way internationally.
Yes.
If you are a member of the United Nations, you have the obligation to take care of your people.
Which Holland is.
Yes, and you have to take care of the people who want exercise their right of self-determination.
Yes.
You can't say, no, you're part of the kingdom, and therefore from this moment on we call it secession. So it means, and then we can't do that because that's like a revolution. It's not correct. And of course you can say it's a small island, but it's a community, it's a society with this right. They can decide, the people can decide what they want, no matter, like James said, no matter how big they are or how small they are. And of course, the possibilities for independence and the conditions are different for a small island, for a small population, than for a big island or a big country.
So in 2018, they kicked the government out, basically, put their own commission, their own, without being democratically elected people.
Yeah, there was democracy was literally, like they said themselves, we postponed democracy for a number of years to clear up the things and make things work, reorganize the island. Now we are 3 years down the line.
And then 2020, there were elections.
Yeah.
And then in that election, that same government that they kick out won, right? And then, but now if they won the election, they should have a function in parliament, with commissioners.
They should be allowed to appoint their executive.
And that's not so, because nobody in Bonaire knows that. So you have no deputados, no commissioners, no?
No.
So why was there elections?
Just as what the Dutch government said, we're going to train you to be a democracy again. So it's like a mock island council, who is they can debate, and they are instructed how to debate and how to organize themselves according to the Dutch idea. I say Dutch, and I don't want to be any mistake about that. When I say Dutch, it's not like the individuals or the people. It's about organizations and
Yes.
about government organizations. And that's a clear distinction, that there is no things like, all these people do these things now. Let's be clear about that.
Yes.
That's no way I'm thinking like, okay, it's the responsibility of everybody who comes around.
Yes, and James, I know you work very closely with Central Asia government for many years. You went to United Nations with the political leader, Clive van der Putten, and you went with Ms. Korkhoff and myself. We went to the CARICOM office in South America. What's your opinion on the situation on Statia from that time when they were kicked out and now they are re-elected? What Mr. Korkhoff explained.
That's only one way to explain that. That is called abuse of power. It's not about justice, it's about might of power. Because what we accept as civilized humans now in this world, democracy is the highest point we reach. So the people come together, decide on who they want to govern them. And that is what the world stands for. The Netherlands, Holland signed to and are propagating the whole world, human rights and human rights, everything. The first human rights, what makes you human, is the right to decide, nothing else. But we're talking about everything else on Bonaire and all our islands. Forget that the first thing that makes you human is when you have the right to decide what you do with the money you pay in taxes, because that is your obligation. They say that we agree that we work, we pay tax. So with that, we have the right to decide on that. That's why our modern civilization based on democracy and your contribution to tax. So, but what happened in St. Eustatius, we were a step already behind when they take our power away on 10-10-10.
Yes.
But in St. Eustatius, they went to the lowest limit that is possible. So that little voice that was left over after 10-10-10, they take it completely away, because the government of Statia had the aspiration, was working towards getting the people their autonomy back, because it's their right. They take it away without their consent. They're taking away against their will. They vote in referendum, they want their autonomy back. The government of Statia was taken away based on abuse of power. So that, and what is most sad about this whole situation, what happens in Statia, that we see how vulnerable we are. Nobody in this world, starting with our own islands, can do nothing about that. That's like somebody come in your house, a pedophile come in your house now, and enter your house, go in a room of your small children there, and you can do nothing. That's how bad, I guess, just a comparison of say. And then we all stand here on all our islands and all the Caribbean, all the world, and see that happen. That's for me the worst part of it. Somebody can abuse the power, that certain things we agreed as humans that we should not allow anymore, and this is one of the things. This was why the war was fought. That's why 80 million people died in the World War, to give us small islands this right to handle our own stuff. So we all forget that, think that only thing we should do is have a job and eat. That's not true. This is all our responsibility to make sure those things will never happen again in this world. So this, for me, is the biggest tragedy of Statia case, because Statia cannot defend himself against a powerful Holland. Neither we do, but that's why we, as the world, as people who are educated, who can read, should read up, should understand this is the worst thing we can let happen to any country and any people. And the Statia like us are in the same way. So that's how I want to say this today. Maybe next time I say it different, but that's how I say that's happened to Statia, something that we should not allow in this world. And we all sit until today, when we hear Mr. Kerkhoff say, the situation is the same. On Bonaire now are the Dutch government I hear a Bonaire in Ipco. Knap is walking around the island normal. It's impossible. These guys are doing the crimes at the highest level of the world. I repeat again, 80 million people was killed in the war. For us to have this right, and today, Mr. Knops, I think maybe is catching iguanas today, and I've seen newspaper catching iguanas and taking pictures. Sorry, I got very upset now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so we winding down on the. We have today the former commissioner, Island Secretary and Commissioner of Statia, and Mr. James Finis of NKBB Bonaire Bag, and myself, Vika Bisasar from Bonaire Human Rights. So we're talking about Bonaire and St. Statia, and in the beginning, before the dismantling of the Netherlands Antilles, the history behind it, how important it was, what happened. And most of the world, as we know, just misunderstood what happened in Bonaire and St. Eustatius, and of course Saba. Everyone thought that Statia and Bonaire chose for integration. Most of the Dutch people that come to Bonaire right now, they are thinking that, but that's not true. So today we heard some background information that Bonaire and St. Eustatius absolutely not chose for integration, the present status of the best island. All right, so Mr. Kirchhoff, what's your opinion about NKBB Bonaire Bag and James Finis as someone that has known us for many years and understood or witnessed some of the milestones that Mr. Finis as civil society achieved?
Well, let me say I'm an observer because I don't live in Bonaire, so I see it from a distance. I see things from the internet. I see the mailings going out. And I hear other people talk about it. Now, one of the things what I see is that, first of all, NKBB Bonaire is getting some traction in society here. I was here for just one day, but I see people come up to James and say, yeah, this is what you talked about, this is what, and now we are really experiencing it. So people start to understand that he's not the crazy man in the desert talking about rain. He's talking, they notice that what he said is something that really concerns them. That's part of their life. And he's giving them the things, what give them words for their disease, the uncomfortable situation in which they find themselves, which they were not much aware of. Because we are talking about a change in the system, not really a change in everyday life. Everyday life can mostly continue, but the right to self-determination is primordial for being a human being. And I've seen that message is coming across. People but have understood by now that, hey, this is really important. I also see that he has achieved that by being very consistent in his message, which is very important too. And that it's not about a party that wants power. It's not about power. It's about humanity, and it's about being a human being and give people the opportunity to be that, which I think is par excellence the thing that has the Caribbean. When the Antilles fell apart and the three entities were formed, the public entities, and under the Dutch collective name Caribbean Netherlands, it became clear that yes, the Caribbean is very much unique, and it's worthwhile, and that's what James is trying to tell the people, it's worthwhile to be Caribbean. The Caribbean has so much to offer, not only to the Netherlands, but to the entire world. But it can only offer it if it's left to be Caribbean and not to be a part of European Holland, done things the way European Holland does. Because the Caribbean has a different history, is different. Therefore, it has a right to be its own. And that's its own doesn't mean you have to separate yourself and vilify the other party, the Netherlands, that's not the case. It's very much portrayed that way by, for instance, the Dutch government, like, yeah, you just discriminate against Dutch people. But that's not what I've seen, and that's what James has made very clear. It's not about vilifying the opposition, the people. No, it's about being proud of what you are, being dignified in what you are, being a human being with all its talents and exercising your right to develop your talents. And that's very fundamental. And unfortunately, there are in this world very few people who have the energy, who have the compassion and the willpower to stay on the straight path of what could be called righteousness, do the right thing.
Yes.
Even if it costs you. And I admire James very much for what he has achieved so far. And without going the wrong way by getting angry, by becoming aggressive, he rightfully shows his humanity by becoming emotional when he talks about these things, because these are the things that are at the heart of our humanity.
Yeah.
And that's something which I think it goes better, and I see that, like I said, he gets traction. People start to see that he's not the strange. No, it's he appeals to them, and they feel that this is really for them too. So, and it's also it's not something that's going to happen from one day to the next. But I think, and I have confidence, we will get there. We will be able to exercise our right to self-determination.
Yes.
And whatever comes out of it, it might be that it's very close to the same, but I think we can do that.
Yes.
Especially since it's about togetherness.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kokov. That was a very, very nice, very interesting explanation about Mr. Finis. Mr. Finis, so here you are. I know that we are in the office of Voz di Bonaire back today, and I just want to say, in this little office, I know you have met many, many people. You've met the OAS here. They visit the office. You have met the Greenpeace organization. You've met a lot of parliamentarians from the different islands. What's your feeling about the future for Bonaire and Southeast Asia? Actually, this will be the final word for the program. It's almost finished.
As Coach said, there's only one reason I decided to do this, is to seek the fundamental right of the people. There's no other challenge to this. So, and that is a possibility as a system created, co-signed by the Netherlands, that we have that right to develop as a small island, if you want to call it, have that right that our people has developed in that concept. So our children, our grandchildren has the right to be the leaders of this island. They have the right to be in the positions on the island. Their kids have the right to enjoy Bonaire. That is what is this what we're thinking. Not thinking, what we're seeking, that by being on the list on the United Nations, that secure that right of our people, kids, that they can be in all the government positions, and all the wealth and that the development brings should be first directed to them. We are not against any people, because it's our right first to have that. So with that in mind, I think what we're doing, we think, because we're consistent, this become a daily movement now.
Yes.
Because all our islands start feeling the same, that they've been limited in how they want to see the island with the leaders, with the people.
Yes.
So we're happy that starts happening. So that gives us more possibility.
Yes.
That more people will understand that. And then, like Kurt said, if we don't think there's another solution, because there's no other solution to this, sorry. There's no other political solution. That is the only solution that the world has created.
Yeah.
For us, it's there for us. I said I will stop listening to all leaders and politicians and experts will tell me anything else, because otherwise, when they dissolve the United Nations and then they take away, then I make time thinking of some other possibilities. At this moment, this is the only way, the only solution for
That you mean relisting?
listing in the United Nations
Yes,
to assist us so we as Eustatius can get our happiness back, because at the end, democracy and development and the right to feel good in your house will bring your happiness back.
Thank
And
you.
that is what I think, good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this date with us.
You're
We stay connected. We sure we keep fighting for the people of this island, because at the end, that is what we are here for, nothing else.
Yeah.
Good. Final words?
No, I'm grateful that I can be here with you and have this discussion and add to the knowledge of the people out there, the viewers and the listeners to the show, that they know what goes on, and that's very important. We have to raise the level of consciousness, that people are aware of what's going on, and that it's through dialogue, through convincing people that we make progress, not by telling people what to do and what not to do.
Exactly.
And that's true democracy, and that's what we all stand for. And we also stand for the values and the treasures of the Caribbean as a unique constellation, which has a lot to offer the world. And we should not let it slip out of our hands by letting any other entity determine how things should be done. We have in this society, we have found solutions how to do things, and some things we still have to find out, and that we should be given the chance to find out and see how it works for us.
Evolution.
Because it's very clear that at this point, solutions from elsewhere do not necessarily work here.
Yes.
We have to work it out how we want to do things.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kirchhoff. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Finis. So today, thank you for listening, listeners, to Raw Talk. And I want to thank you guys for being with me today. Mr. Kirchhoff is the former Island Secretary and Commissioner of St. Eustatia. And of course, Mr. Finis from Voz di Bonaire. Thank you, listeners. See you next time.
Junta e guia para nos líder nan di turno, awe nos ta habri wowo, hanya nos de cerca que nos no que tá. Com pouco conhecimento de próprio passado e sem nenhuma ideia onde tá vai, tá só tá manter-nos na vida. Come e lembre. Come e lembre. Nós tá come nos mes rumang pa quedar na vida anto lembe estrangeiro que recuta tá manter-nos na vida. Come e lembre. Come e lembre tá na moda hoje em dia. Boneriano tá critica boneriano. Família tá lastra família. Vizinha tá brinca vizinha. Anto tá elogia esum kuna nossa niki pato abruye. Mi tá vai mais leu ainda. Riba instrução, nos líder na local tá dobla dentro esquina e boh, come nos mes rumang, purba frustra e luta que tá iba para nos tur, diz pa complacer algum estrangeiro, que nos nossa mes tá kiko tá na verdadeiro intenção.
Esse no que me, cu amor